I want you all to really pay very close attention to us today as I start this series of sermon, and I can't tell you how long it's going to last, but I know at least 3, maybe 4 weeks for sure, if not longer. I'm going to teach lessons for the next 4 or 5 weeks on why people leave Jesus. Why people leave Jesus. Mark chapter 5. I want to start at verse 21. The Word of God says, when Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the lake. Then one of the synagogue leaders named Jairus came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. He pleaded earnestly with him, "My daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her so that she will be healed and live." The first 5 words of verse 24, and I'll be through. So Jesus went with him. You may be seated. Why people leave Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want you all to understand that I am convinced through hearsay and through actions that people solidify the reasons they no longer trust God and attend church. And if you were to evaluate life from a human's perspective and a human's understanding, your thought process can be validated very easily. Because we've heard some things about the Lord, and we heard them in Sunday school, we heard them in worship, we even hear it in song that totally contradict who the Lord really is. And people who preach and teach, we get up with the best intention, but sometimes, even with good intention, there is a misrepresentation. And we tend to make God some heavenly Santa Claus that all we have to do is write a wish list, and everything we wish for is going to be placed at our disposal. And I am convinced, and I have personally concluded, I haven't read it in a book, I'm going to put it in mind when I write the next one, that people leave the Lord because of expectations that he does not meet. I mean, you think about it. I'm going to walk my point very plainly. When you heard that he's a burden bearer and you're still battling your burdens, you'll feel God let you down. When you have always heard that he's a doctor in a sick room, but he didn't show up to heal, and as a result, your loved one died, you'll think there's a fake and phony God that you serve. And people have told us things about God that are true, but oftentimes they don't ever tell us the other side, that he still reserves the right not to do what you want him to do. Because at the end of the day, God's promises, for the most part, have nothing to do with you while on earth. The real promises are about what's in heaven. You are wanting everything right now, but the truth is, right now is not the heaven you're headed for. But if you look at this to be heaven while you're catching hell, it'll make you want to walk away from the Lord. And I know that there are people here who are asking, why do I need to serve a God like this? When my loved ones died, when kids are getting shot at school, when this, that, and the other is taking place. And I know your reasons to you are valid, but the problem with your reason is simply you're thinking from a humanistic perspective and you don't see nothing spiritual in your thought process. But when you can understand that you don't understand, and when you understand that you don't understand, but you still stand under, then you can see that God is really who he say he is. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I think I need to go ahead and share just some mere facts. People are going to die every day. Listen to me. People are going to continue to get sick every day. People are going to have letdowns and disappointments every day. Can I bless you? It ain't just the people in the world, it's the people in the church. I ought to tell somebody, it ain't just your loved one going through. We all are going through. But the good thing is, when you go through, sooner or later, you're going to come out. And everybody don't come out of their situation. Some folk come out of life in order to go into a better situation. And if heaven is everything that we talk about it is, I would dare say, what's wrong with dying? If heaven is a land where you don't die no more, where you don't get sick no more, where you don't have to deal with Negroes who gonna lie on you, talk about you, scandalize your name, mistreat you and cheat you. If heaven is that good, why are we fussing when somebody dies? People leave the Lord, but I would just have only one question. And my question is not an original question. My question is one actually that Peter asked. If you leave him, where do you go? I'd rather die believing that the God I trust is real and he ain't, than to die not believing he ain't real and he is. Because if I believe in him and he ain't real, I don't lose nothing. But if I don't believe in him and I find out that he is real, I lose everything. And y'all, let me tell you, your problems are not the first problems that have become problems. When you look in the Bible from the beginning of time, when Adam decided to mess up by being provoked or enticed by Eve, ever since then, the world's been catching hell. And can I bless you? The world is going to continue to catch hell until the Lord comes back. People are going to continue to die. People are going to continue to get sick. And it's not that we don't care when it happens. It's not that we're cold and callous. But at the end of the day, it's so much of it going on. Once you cry with one family, you got to be ready to go cry with another family. It's just ongoing and it's continuous. And somebody asked me one day, Pastor, how do you continue to do it? I'll tell you how. It's only one answer. I'm not Superman. I'm I'm not mighty man. I'm not Batman. Can I tell you, I'm a mere man who trusts God. And because I trust God, I get my strength from him. And I learn to just lean and depend on him. Now, one thing I have come to conclude and understand, that he is the source of my strength. He is the strength of my life. And if I leave him, I have no one else who can do me like Jesus. Can I just be nosy and ask a question? Is there anybody here ever been down and you only know you got up not by your hands, not by your friend's hand, but some supernatural God lifted you up? Let me bless you. I know that some of you are questioning who he is and what he is, but I want to tell you, he's real. Whatever you say, you can't make me doubt him. And I'll tell you why, because I know too much about him. And I know because of what I read, that gave me knowledge. But I know because of what I've gone through, that gave me experience. And the experience that I have with God is that it would be foolish to walk away. And I know some of you walk away because you're spoiled. And that ain't the first person you walked away. You done walked away from family members. You done walked away from friends. And as long as you're self-centered and want what you want when you want it, you're going to keep walking away. Ain't nothing going to be old to you because you just keep on walking away. Sooner or later, you might keep walking and find out the problem ain't everybody and everything else. If you look in the mirror, you'll look right at the problem. Preach, Pastor Epps. Here it is. The choir sung extra long, so if I go over 5 or 6 minutes, it's because the choir sung longer. And not only that, because one baby, y'all didn't see that baby because she was a baby. Coach, where the baby at? How old is she? She's 5. This baby during offering time, she held up offering for 5 minutes. Can I tell y'all what she did? This baby comes around to give her offering with her iPad in her hand, put her iPad down, digs her $1 out of her purse. And you know, I said, we done held up offering 5 minutes for one baby, put her iPad down to dig $1 out of her purse. But you know what? I bless God that she understands the importance of giving. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give it to you real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. When you look at what you have not gotten from the Lord that you requested, and the truth is, I might as well quote the Bible. I am the preacher. The Lord has given us the privilege to ask for anything that we want. And he says, if you ask, you shall receive. Can I just ask, is there anybody other than the pastor who've been asking and still ain't received? Amen. Amen. So right away, we would think that that's fake and phony. It could be fake and phony if that was the entire statement. But you got to read what the statement says. The statement says, if you abide in me, and if my word abides in you, then you can ask what you want, and then you're going to get it. Because you won't get what you want when you ask, because the Bible says you ask amiss. And you spell that word A-M-I-S-S, amiss. And the word amiss means that you ask out of your selfish motives and out of your selfish desires, because it's all about you pleasing you. But if you're in his word, you'll understand you can ask what you want, but you still have to understand that he has the last say. say. And if he don't give you what you want, it ain't your business to walk away from him. It's your business to say, God, you didn't give it to me, and there has to be a reason why. And I thank you that you didn't. Can I just ask, is there anybody ever asked for something and didn't get it, and now you can thank God that he didn't allow you to have it, because what you were doing was looking at right now, but he saw what was going to happen up the road? I used to thank God for taking away all of my enemies. And then I got mad at him that he started leaving some. And I grew up and I say, God, now I can thank you for my enemies, because my enemies brought me closer to you. My enemies let me stop trusting people and start depending more on you. Thank you for what you do, but more than anything, I thank you now for what you don't do. Watch this. Jairus was a ruler who had a daughter that was 12. Anybody 12? Any 12-year-olds? Stand up, 12-year-olds. Some big, some small. But regardless if they big or small, they still what? 12. Sit down, 12-year-olds. Any of y'all been to the high school prom yet? That would be a no. I'm talking only to my 12-year-olds. If you're 11 or 13, I ain't talking to you. Anybody, I'm scared to ask, got a girlfriend or boyfriend? No. Good answer, good answer. 12 years old, have not experienced absolutely anything about life, and here is a ruler of the synagogue whose daughter is their age, and the problem is she's sick and about to die. Took her to Children's, they couldn't do nothing. Took her to Scottish Rite, they couldn't figure it out. Jairus says, I know where to go, and he goes to Jesus. He explains to Jesus, Jesus, listen, I have a daughter who's young in age, have not experienced any life. She's sick, and she's going to die unless you come. Verse 24, the first 5 words. Brittany, if you will, one more time, because I don't want nobody to think I'm making any of this up. Verse 24 says what? You would assume the first 5 words would indicate that now everything is going to be great, because Jesus went with him. He did not go with him not knowing why he was going or where he was going. He knew when he went with him, he was going for the purpose of healing his 12-year-old daughter. And some of us, Jesus has consented to go with us, and we thought it was a fix-all. But let me help you. Some of your worst situations are going to come when Jesus is with you. I think I better hurry up and give you a great answer right there. The reason you ain't dead, I haven't lost your mind, is because Jesus was with you. I mean, you know what you've gone through. Had you tried to do that by yourself, ain't no way you would still be here. And as bad as it was, the only reason you are is because Jesus was with you. Can I help you? When Jesus is with you, you're still not exempt from troubles, trials, and tribulations. When Jesus is with you, you're still not exempt from being lied on and talked about. When Jesus is with you, you're still gonna go through some problems. You're still gonna go through some deaths. You're still gonna experience some bad days and some sick days. Every day ain't gonna be good. Deliver me from Christians who are always blessed and highly favored. People like that get on my nerves. How you doing? Oh, I'm blessed and highly. No, you ain't. There are some days you just don't feel good. And it's okay not to feel good. There are some days you don't want to be here, and it's okay not to want to be. There are some days that you have more questions than you do answers. And let me help you. I don't care how much tithes you've paid. I don't care how your prayer life is in order. That is still not going to get you exempt. And the very worst thing that you can do is walk away from the only help that you have. Jesus went with him. They went to Jairus' house. That was the intent, to go to his house to heal his 12-year-old daughter who was at the point of death. Come here, Jesus. I don't quite know if Jesus' hair was like that. Can you imagine? Everything that was bad now is starting to look up because Jesus is with him. I don't know what song he had in mind going to Jesus, but now, Jamal, where you at? He was singing, I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. Boom, 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 boom. When it's cold outside, I've got the month of May. Well, what can make Ebbs feel this way? It's my God talking about my God. I don't need no. Okay, that's enough. I'm sorry. I'm starting to feel it too much. Jesus is walking with him. But here's what you got to see that you don't. It's when Jesus is walking with you, and since Jesus and Satan are never walking together, when Jesus is walking with you, Satan is going to walk against you. And let me help you. Can't nobody quote it better than me. Oh, I can do all things through Christ. Greater is he that's in me than he that's. That's cute. But there are times when Satan walks against you that you're going to catch some hell that he saw but you didn't expect. Now watch this, because if Jesus is walking with you, he's not only walking beside you, He's so big, he walks behind you and in front of you at the same time. And if he's walking in front of you, whatever come to you had to go through him. And if it goes through him, it was allowed to come to you because he knew he had already covered you. Can I just ask, other than the pastor again, anybody ever had this phrase to say, I just don't know how I made it through. I just don't know how I got to where I am. I'll tell you how it had nothing to do with you and everything to do with who was walking with you. When Jesus is with you, can I bless you real good? Ain't nothing impossible for you if you just stay with him. I don't care what kind of troubles, trials, or tribulations come your way. You got to make up in your mind, hell or high water, I'm going to stay with the Lord. James Cleveland told me to tell you one more time, you can't get tired of it even if you get tired in it. He did not bring you this far to walk out on you, and if he does not walk out on you, don't you walk out on him. Just so y'all know, I'm preaching a whole lot better than half of y'all are responding. He's walking with Jesus because Jairus summoned Jesus to heal his daughter. Look at his request. Put your hand on her so she can be healed and she will live. That's what the word says. But while walking with him, Larry, watch this. Someone came from Jairus' house and said something that hurt me. They said, leave Jesus alone because your daughter is no longer sick. Your daughter is now dead. Let him go on about his business. Jesus heard what was said, and then he looked at Jairus, and let me translate what he said. What Jesus then said was, Jairus, listen, I know what they said is hurtful, shocking, and then Jairus, is also true. She is dead, but now would not be a good time for you to leave me. Because when you ask me to come, I consented to go with you, and I knew the condition before I got there. Because although I am all man, I'm still all God. And not only do I possess the power to heal sick, you got to remember I have the reversal power to make that which is not be no more. I can reverse any situation if you just choose to stay with me. And y'all, let me tell you something. That wasn't just for Jairus. I've watched the Lord reverse some situations. I've watched him reverse some dead marriages, some dead finances. I've watched him raise up some dead people who were physically dead and spiritually dead. I've seen it all. And because of what I've seen and heard, I tell you, I will not walk out on Jesus. And I don't care who else walk out on me. I'm going to keep my hand in God's hand because he's proven to make everything all right. And everything all right does not mean it's going to get fixed my way, but it means that even in the midst of a mess, He gives me peace that surpasses all my understanding. Young lady, Darius, walks up to me after church at the first service, and she wanted to share with me. I've walked with her through her mother's situation, and yesterday her mom said, "I'm tired of fighting, let me go." She said, "Pastor, what am I going to do?" I say, "What are your options?" "I don't know." I said, "I know." I said, "If mama's tired, let mama go. But realize you ain't letting mama go not to see her again. Come here." A lot of people walk away from Jesus because of temporal situations that you possess the power to make permanent. That was better than y'all responded. It's temporal when a person transition, but it becomes permanent if y'all go in different directions. Wow. If the person who transitioned held on to God's hand, and now you let go of God's hand, you change what was temporary to something permanent, because y'all won't get to see each other again because you have two different destinations. So you can't ever let God go because of a temporal situation, when permanency is still, we get to hang out forever in a better place with better people. We get to hang out for good, and everything is going to be all right. Can I bless you about something with God? Everybody, all three people that you can read about that were resuscitated in the Bible died again. Well, hold on, they were resurrected? No, because if you're resurrected, you will never die again. Everybody else was resuscitated, but Jesus was resurrected. And everybody that he resuscitated did die again. But I thank God for the resurrection, that he was resurrected, because through the resurrection, he'll never die again. And can I bless you with why that's good news? Because if he will never die again, everything under death he's already defeated, and then he defeated death. So he has power over absolutely everything, over all sickness, over all depression, over all problems, over all situations. And here's the best news: he even has power over death. So much power that when death takes you out, death doesn't leave you dead. Death just ushers you to a permanent place. And if you love Jesus and if you stay with the Lord, can I tell you what that place is? That place is where the wicked is going to cease from troubling, and where the weary will be at rest. Can I tell you what that place is? That place is where the streets are gold, the walls are jasper. That place is a place of no more crying, and no more dying, and no more sickness, but every day it's gonna be sweeter than the day before. And I would just say, don't walk away from the Lord. Even if you feel like he let you down, let me tell you, he can't let you down, because he's the Lord, and he'll never let you down. And even when you don't get what you want, it's not because he's letting you down. It could be because he's lifting you up. When my friend, I'm through with this, when my friend Dr. Haynes resigned a couple of weeks ago from the Rainbow Coalition, I texted him and I said, "Pastor, you blessed me, and I wanted to text you just to say I appreciate you." I continued my text and I said, "You know, sometimes by stepping down, you really step up. And young people, listen to me. You cannot go along to get along. Because when you go along, you step down. When you're getting along, you're stepping down. But when you can stand, even if you have to stand boldly by yourself, stepping down can really be a step up. Because stepping down by being jingled by somebody else's chain and being put on a puppet string is basically saying to them and to everybody, I will not be dictated to by nobody but the God I serve. I don't care about the power, the prestige, or the finances. I refuse to be dictated to by a man when I got God who gives me his word, and I'm going to be dictated to. I'm going to be dictated to by the word of God, even if it costs everything I have. I refuse. Y'all listen. I refuse. I don't care whatever else I lose. Y'all listen to me. I refuse to walk away from my God. I don't care who walk away from me. I refuse to walk away from my God. And if you're not with God right now, can I tell you, it ain't because he left you. It's very well because you left him. He promised that he won't leave you. And he promised he will not forsake you. And if y'all are not together, let me tell you where to get him from. Go back to the last place you know y'all were hanging out together. And if you go back to that last place, he's still right there. And what I like about him that differs from people is that he'll never say, why did you leave me? He's simply going to say, welcome back home. I don't know who you are, but I know that there are some people here that's on slippery ground. You're in a bad place because you feel like God have let you down. God has done you wrong. But y'all, let me tell you, he hasn't. His ways are not your ways. His thoughts are not your thoughts. But even though y'all ways differ, don't trust yours, trust his. Before you follow a person, follow God. Listen, if you lose everything else but stay with God, let me assure you, you're still all right. I would rather stay with a God who woke me up than a man who can't even go to sleep on his own. I would rather stay with a God who can give me rest than a man who can just buy me an expensive bedroom set. I would rather stay with God who allows me through love to discipline me simply because he cares for me than anything or anybody else in this world. You know, staying with God does not happen when you change your actions. It happens when you change your mind. Because anybody can change their actions, but changing actions without changing your mind will revert back to the same actions. But if you change your mind, your actions will automatically change because you got a new way of looking at everything now. And I would encourage everybody here, find peace in what you're dealing with and going through. Keith, may I share? This young man, stand up, Keith, stand up. There's not one way possible, period, that he should not have been great playing on Sundays. But personal choices landed him in the penitentiary that took him away from everything that he wanted for himself and everything that God gave him the ability to accomplish. Just crazy choices, foolish stuff. But after talking to him, even though it wasn't good, he said to me, Pastor, it wasn't good, but it worked for my good. I like his testimony because he says, you know, I felt invincible. And y'all, listen to me. The invincibility came as a result of people putting you higher than you're supposed to be. And I don't care who you are, you can get caught up with what people say. But if you allow people to elevate you, God will humble you. But he never humbles for the purpose of breaking. He always humbles for the purpose of making. Keith said to me, Pastor, ain't no way I would still be alive, but God had a design for me to be locked up so I can live. He said, and I know factually, because of my head set at that time, what would have happened. He said, but because I was locked up, I missed some things. I missed some pandemics, and I'm not talking about the coronavirus. I'm talking about the AIDS and the drug thing. And he says, Pastor, I'd have died, but God saw so far ahead that instead of leaving me out, he locked me up. Can I bless you? If anybody might have found a reason, Keith could have felt sorry for himself and started getting depressed, and he did. But you know what? Every time he got depressed, because he was locked up, he had one book in his jail cell. It's called the Bible. He done went through it 6 different times, and today he can say like Paul, I am what I am by the grace of God. Listen to me and I'm through. Prayer team, y'all come on forward. Conversion team, y'all go ahead and take your posts. I don't know who's here today and why, but I want you to know it's not hypothetical nor is it coincidental that you came to worship. And you cannot continue to just sit as though you're not affected one way or another by what has been said. And I will encourage you through what was said today to let the word penetrate your heart. You know you better than anybody else. You know what you're dealing with and going through better than anybody else. And today, if you're here and you need someone to pray with you or pray for you,